For the French, crepes must be so thin that you can read a newspaper through them. The Japanese have turned pancakes into a souffle that jiggles on the plate, and in England they run marathons with pancakes. It's hard to imagine Canadian pancakes without maple syrup, while Moroccan pancakes look like a sponge for honey. As for China, their pancakes often serve as a wrapping for other food rather than a separate dish. Today we'll talk about pancakes in different cultures: Asian, Arabic, European, and even Russian. Let's start with France. Here pancakes are not just food, but more than a 1,000-year-old art. They're called crepes, and if you think they are regular pancakes, the French will correct you. The right crepe should be so thin one could read a newspaper through it, or at least see the Eiffel Tower. How are French crepes made? Rule number 1 is no rush. The batter must rest for at least an hour before baking so that it becomes elastic and does not tear. The batter is poured into the center of the pan and quickly spread with a special wooden stick. If it's a little thicker in places, the pancake will not pass the French quality test. Now comes the most interesting part: flipping the pancake. In France, crepes are flipped in the air. If it lands flat, everything is great. If it lands on the floor or on your head, consider more practice. There is even a French superstition associated with flipping pancakes. Every year on February the 2nd, Le Chandelier is celebrated, the festival of crepes. The tradition is as follows: when you flip the pancake with your left hand, you have to hold a gold coin to the right. If the pancake lands perfectly flat on the pan, the year will be successful, and if not, well, at least you have a delicious crepe. What types of French crepes are there? The classic is crepe with sugar, lemon, and cinnamon. Simple but brilliant taste. If you want something decadent, there are the crepes Suzette. These pancakes are dipped in caramelized orange sauce with Grand Marnier liqueur. But the most spectacular are crepes flambé, which the waiter sets on fire right in front of you, creating flames on your plates. For flambé means flamed in French. Legend has it that this dish was invented by accident when a young chef accidentally spilled alcohol on pancakes while serving them, and they caught fire. The pancakes burst into flames, but the chef maintained his composure and said that this was intended. Prince Edward VII, the future king of Great Britain, for whom the dish was prepared, was delighted, and thus the iconic dessert was born, which was named Suzette in honor of Edward's beloved. But velvety crepes are only half the story. In Britain and in the north of France, they make buckwheat pancakes, just as thin but made from buckwheat flour, gluten-free and with a light crispy crust. They are served with a ham, cheese and egg. By the way, the French themselves are convinced that the best crepes are in Britain, because that's where they appeared in the 13th century when buckwheat was brought to the region. Buckwheat, brought from Asia after the Crusades, took root well in the local climate and became the main ingredient for pancakes. Chinese pancakes date back to the Han Dynasty and perhaps even earlier. Unlike Russian pancakes, which are made from liquid batter with milk, Chinese pancakes are often made from wheat or rice flour and fried in a dry frying pan and sometimes steamed. They are rarely eaten plain. They always serve as a base for other dishes and are used as a wrapping for meat and vegetable fillings. One of the most famous types are pancakes for Peking duck. These thin, almost transparent flatbreads were specifically designed to wrap a piece of crispy duck with green onions, cucumber, and sweet and salty hoisin sauce. Their dough should be elastic enough to withstand wrapping, but not to drown the taste of the duck. Some restaurants serve them with a traditional ritual. The chef cuts the duck right at the table, while the waiters roll each pancake into a perfect roll. By the way, the original recipe for making such pancakes is still kept secret and is followed only in the most prestigious establishment in Beijing. Another iconic type is Jianbing, which is a Chinese version of street food. This is the breakfast of millions of Chinese. A mixture of wheat and grain flour is poured into a hot flat frying pan. An egg is immediately cracked on top and spread over the surface. Then, green onions, sesame, and sauces are added along with the main crispy ingredient, bao cui, a thin, almost airy sheets of dough. The dish has hundreds of varieties. Different provinces of China prepare it in their own way. They add meat, seafood, and even hot pepper. Another popular type is the Shandong pancakes. Unlike the Jianbing, these pancakes are made from coarse flour, most often wheat, corn, or even millet. They're dense filling and serve as a base for sandwiches. Meat, vegetables, and even noodles are wrapped in them. Such pancake can be wrapped into a roll and eaten on the go. Jianbing deserves special attention. There are stuffed pancakes that are somewhat reminiscent of pierogi. Inside them is a juicy filling of grated radish, meat or mushrooms, and the dough is fried until crispy golden brown. They're especially loved in the southern regions of China such as Guangdong and Fujian, where they prefer pastries with a rich filling. China also has the Jianbing, or spring pancakes. They are eaten during the Lichun festival, which signifies the arrival of spring. Traditionally, meat, vegetables, and herbs are wrapped in them and generously dosed with sauces. These pancakes symbolize a renewal, and according to legend, the more filling you put in a Jianbing, the better the year will be. From China, we go to Japan. Here, pancakes are something between a cloud, a cake, and a science experiment. They're so airy that they seem like they could fly off the plate. These are not classic thin pancakes, but souffle pancakes, extremely fluffy and soft, like small edible pillows. The secret of making them is not flour, not milk, and not even the chef's talent. It's the eggs. The whites are whipped until they form a thick foam and then carefully mixed into the dough to maintain the structure. This is what makes these pancakes so airy, but there is another nuance. To make them perfect, they're cooked on low heat, covered with a lid so that they bake through but not deflated. Each batch takes 20 to 30 minutes, so if you order these pancakes in Japan, be prepared to wait. Why these Chinese pancakes are so popular? Firstly, they're very photogenic. Souffle pancakes spring back when you press on them, and it's a pleasure to watch them jiggling on the plate. Secondly, they can only be found in Japan. Of course, there are recipes online, but trying real souffle pancakes is a whole ceremony, which has people lining up at cafes in Tokyo for several hours. By the way, these pancakes became an ASMR phenomenon. Japanese cafes can serve you them shaken in such a way that it's almost hypnotic. What types of fillings do they have? The classic option is whipped cream and berries, but you can also find matcha pancakes, adzuki beans paste pancakes, and even flambé pancakes. And the Japanese wouldn't be themselves if they stopped coming up with new types of pancake. If regular pancakes are just breakfast, dorayaki is part of Japanese culture and an anime legend. These are two small soft pancakes glued together with a sweet anko paste made from red adzuki beans. It looks like a mini sandwich and tastes tender, sweet, and slightly nutty. But where did dorayaki come from? According to one legend, a wounded samurai once hid in a peasant's house. To thank his host, he cooked food in his dora, a metal gong that was used as frying pan. This is how the fried gongs came about, which later turned into the very dessert that can be found in every corner in Japan today. But the real popularity of dorayaki came from Doraemon, the iconic Japanese character, a blue robot cat from the future. He's literally obsessed with dorayaki, it is his favorite food and he dreams of eating them in every episode. Thanks to this, dorayaki has become as much a symbol of Japan as sushi or ramen. Nowadays, dorayaki is prepared not only with bean paste, modern variations can include fillings of chocolate, whipped cream, matcha green tea, and even ice cream. But in Japan they say the classic option is always the best because traditions convey the taste of the time.